after CEO and FC, there were actually a lot of big questions going into Evo, even more so than what I had 2 weeks ago. And as an analyst, as a person that makes these predictions, it's actually really difficult to make anything definitive while still being confident. And the way that you can process this is just do a thought experiment and ask yourself, if you pick your favorite player to win Evo, like, would you be confident enough to bet $500 on that player? So a lot of people on Twitter will say, yeah, I think PP's going to win, I think Mango's going to win, I think Armada's going to win, I think Leffen's going to win. But it lacks weight behind it unless you put something of personal value into backing that statement up, other than like a simple Twitter statement. So if you feel confident enough to say, like, I'm willing to bet like X amount of money or put this on the line for this player, that's amazing. But I feel that most of the people will have like an inkling or a nudge towards a player, but not fully feel confident. And that's what this talk is about. It's the big questions that that every one of the big players have. I feel that there is no one person that's outright the front runner at this point. Bunch of surprises. I think a lot of the top players that can win it have a lot of weaknesses that we've seen. I think a month ago we would have said, yeah, I think Armada, is clearly the favorite, hasn't dropped the set. But now we've seen 2 tournaments, and that leaves us a lot of questions. So we'll go down the list. So I'll actually start with Armada. So Armada has a lot of things going up for him. Most consistent player ever, in my opinion, has not dropped a set against anyone outside of the Big Six. And that's something that is highly underrated, because all the other... The road to top 8 at EVO isn't as automatic as what people think. So making it to winner semis means that you have to beat 2 to 3 like top 20 caliber players. And this means beating players like Axe, West Balls, the Fox Mains, Pew Pew, Plup, Shroomed, all these people that are more than capable of beating people like Hungrybox, Mewtwo King, Leffen, Mango even. So that's one thing that Armada has going for him, that to make it to that top 8 portion of a bracket, you can pretty much pencil Armada in. At the same time, he's developed a lot of characters, but the big questions I have for Armada is this. His neutral game is very solid, but I feel that Leffen now understands the decision trees and the flowcharts that Armada is looking for in neutral, in terms of the way that he dash dances, the way that he tilts, the way he counter pokes, and Leffen has like figured it out completely at this point. So Leffen has dominated Armada in the past 2 tournaments, even doing a 4 stock, which is something that has never happened to Armada before in tournament for at least the last 6 years. Armada is going to have to make a lot of adjustments and a lot of studying, because it looks like Leffen has... I wouldn't say Leffen has dominated the Fox Ditto, because he's had issues with SFAT and other Foxes that aren't of Armada's level. But it seems like Leffen has figured out Armada, and that's a big question of what kind of adjustments is he going to make next week at the WT Fox, and what kind of adjustments would he have against Leffen if he were to play Leffen at EVO, because the way the semifinals brackets work is that Armada will play the winner of Leffen and Hungrybox, which I'm pretty confident Leffen would win, and for Armada to reach that path to winners finals, he would have to beat Leffen. And it's always interesting because you look at Armada's history, and ever since he's returned to playing Melee again after 2013, there's been 6 Super Majors, and this will be its own topic, but for just convenience sake, I'll say EVO 2013, ABEX 2014, EVO 2014, MLG, Big House 4, and CEO 2015. So 6 Super Majors. Armada has yet to win one. And it seems like he has everybody's number but one player. So out of 4 of those Super Majors, Armada has been double eliminated by the same player. And it brings up a lot of questions, like can he... Because everybody will study the best player that's available. And so if you're dominating tournaments, or if you're like a guy like Zero, you have a target on your back, and everybody's going to study your gameplay, they're going to study your habits and figure you out. So another big question I have for Armada is, like, is he willing to make quick adaptations on the fly and abandon portions of his neutral or abandon parts of his flowchart, or is he stuck with what he has going into the tournament? Because that's a big weakness he has. One person we'll just be just good enough to figure him out completely. Maybe not like an overall skill, but we'll figure out Armada's playstyle and just beat him and run with it. So we saw that with PP at 2015 Apex. We saw that with Leffen recently. We saw that with Hungrybox last year. And so that's always been a big question mark for Armada, and that's part of the reason why I feel that he doesn't really win the big ones as much as, you know, he gets to grand finals, and that's very good. That's a pattern that we are beginning to see with Armada. Hungrybox also exposed a lot of Armada's weaknesses and flaws as a Fox main that's still gaining a lot of experience. So Armada has like the macro game really well done. He understands how to abuse characters and abuse matchups. So laser, using mobility, nicking with back air and up air and up tilts is, you know, something that Fox is really good at. But when the other player takes Armada out of that macro element and says like, hey, I'm confronting you up close, I'm going to force you to skirmish, like, does Armada have enough of that character specific hitbox knowledge to overcome that? And that's something that, you know, Hungrybox brought to my attention, is that there are some fundamental flaws that if Hungrybox just doesn't play that macro game and allow Armada to be really comfortable and just running around, camping, shooting lasers, can Armada close the gap and approach and play in areas and distances that may be completely not safe? So like if you watch Mango or Leffen and you watch their exchanges with Hungrybox, they're playing him a lot closer, but they're winning most of those exchanges, and I'm not sure if Armada has that knowledge or that experience to do the same as a Peach main that's gone to Fox, as opposed to these Fox mains that have, you know, been playing years of Fox. So those are the big questions I have for Armada. PPMD is the next one, probably the biggest mystery in terms of, you know, up ahead. A lot of people will say like PPMD is the favorite. Look at what he did at Apex. He can just randomly enter a tournament and just win. And that Apex 2015 and MLG and Evo, he was depressed, and therefore he is excused from any sort of bad play. And I don't really buy into that argument. And I was talking to Mango last night, and he was saying that how sports athletes have to come to play and they have to perform regardless of circumstance, regardless of injuries, regardless of soreness, regardless of rest, regardless of their mental state. They have to come and perform. So to dismiss Evo 2014 and MLG and to praise Apex 2015 and say that Apex 2015 is the only option for PP and that's the only level of skill we'll see, and that there's no variance, Evo 2014 didn't happen, would be very narrow-minded and very short-sighted in terms of evaluating a player. So the big question is for PP is, can he come and play? And because it seems like a coin flip in terms of like, is he able to perform at a peak level or perform at like a 4th, 3rd, 5th place level, which isn't bad. It's still really good. We don't really know if we're gonna get the top of the line PP or God tier in the big 5 level PP, and so don't have many other questions other than that. It's going to be very interesting. For Mango, been very inconsistent. I've been very disappointed in the level of play I've seen from him. There are some good things that, you know, come up from him. His Falco versus Fox matchup is impeccable. He has beaten Leffen the last 4 times. Beats Hungrybox consistently. The only people he really needs to avoid in bracket are probably Armada. But as I've said earlier, he may not even have to play Armada at Evo, given the brackets. If it's Armada versus Leffen and PP versus Mango, if Mango beats PP and Leffen's playing the way he's playing, then it's a Mango versus Leffen winners finals. And if Mango wins that, then Leffen and Armada play again in losers. So there might be a dream scenario if you're a Mango fan where Mango does not even have to play Armada going into grand finals. And that sucks, and you know, you can discredit a person for that. But in the same reason, I don't really discredit Leffen for not having to play Mango at CEO of 2015. Fact of the matter is, Mango lost to Armada, so Leffen, you know, deserves the win. But there are plausible circumstances where Mango may not even have to play Armada, his kryptonite at this point. I believe Armada's won the last 6 of 7 sets. And so if Mango and Armada were to play, I would say Armada's a 4-1 favorite against Mango. And that's the big question I have for Mango. Can he handle Armada? I don't really see it. He's going to have to make a lot of adaptations. He's going to have to play disciplined. The two he hasn't played disciplined in a really long time. And a lot of people say, like, if Mango does this, if Mango does that. But he has shown in the last good handful of sets that he doesn't have that discipline to do it. And I believe discipline's his skill. So it'll be interesting to see if he develops that and he really goes in for Evo. And the other like big thing about Mango is he's historically been really bad in day 2s and day 1s of pools. So what I mean by that is the top 32 going down to top 8, where you're playing the Axes, you're playing the Westballs, you're playing the Plebs, you're playing these good players that, you know, if Mango's on an off day, he could just lose, and he'd be in loser's bracket, and he'd have to make another run. And I'm not confident if Mango loses in winners quarters and he has to run through 6 sets in a row if he can do it. Because that means he would have to play Armada, he would have to play PP, he would have to run the gauntlet to win, and I'm not sure if in this given state if he can do that. I'm not really a believer of him doing that, because I believe the competition is caught up. I don't think Mango's a bad player. I don't think, you know, he's lost skill, but in terms of relative skill, I think a lot of people have gone a lot stronger, that it's not going to be an automatic cakewalk that people thought in 2014 or 2013. Leffen is a very interesting one. I think people forget about Emo Leffen and the Leffen that plays on tilt, that throws his controller, that loses to SFAT, that loses to Hugs. And so Leffen, you know, has shown to be a really amazing Armada counter for right now. He's beaten $100 the last 2 times pretty convincingly in my book. PPMD and Mango are going to be very big mysteries to him, because I think Mango has Leffen's number right now. But there's also the possibility that the road to top 8 is not as free as people think, or the road to winners semis. Leffen could lose to Axe, he could lose to like an SFAT, he could lose to a Samus. And so the questions that I have for Leffen is he going to be able to deal with unfamiliarity? Is he going to be able to play not on tilt? If he gets gimped or he has a bad game, is he going to have enough composure to slog his way to win? And I really do believe that, like, for every big national that a player has won, they've had a lot of down sets where they haven't been playing well, they were borderline losing, and they somehow grind out a win. And I feel Leffen, if he wants to make a championship run, he's going to come into circumstances where he's going to have to barely grind out a win to get out. We saw that with PP, with S2J, we saw Mango do that last year with Axe, and the year before with SFAT. So, like, I think you need that one set to really propel you into high gear of, like, I like to say it's like the equivalent of like a sports team having like a couple bad losses before the championship run. It really aligns yourself and gives you the confidence to say, like, even if you're playing bad, you can slug your way and grind out a win. And I believe every champion in the past like year or 2 of Smash has done that at least once or twice. Hungrybox is always going to be a big mystery. I think the big question I have for him is, can he beat a Fox that out-skirmishes him? He's shown that he could beat the campy Foxes like Armada, but Leffen and Mango clearly know like the intricacies of Puff, and so can he overcome that? Can he overcome the Leckies, the SFATs, the Colbulls? And if he's not able to, then I don't see him getting really too far. But, you know, if he somehow finds adaptations, he YOLO ledge camps, you know, he can make it very far, and he's shown, you know, that he can go back and forth with Armada. Not only this time did he go close, I mean, did he beat him Armada, but, you know, even though he got whooped at CEO, he did have a close best of 5 set at Sandstorm. So I always view Hungrybox as this like lurking troll that like can appear out of nowhere and just perform and throw it out like Armada's dreams. And if Hungrybox or Leffen beat Armada, that'd be like really amazing and really surprising. Mewtwo King is not in this tournament, so I'm not going to talk about him. And then we have the other players that, you know, Westballs and Axe. I haven't seen too much of Axe lately, but I expect him to do great things. Westballs has lost to MacD quite a few times this year, if you really think about it. And Westballs is a really good run against where he got second place at Sandstorm. Little known fact, he lost to MacD in winners of that tournament. MacD beat him again here. MacD beat him at a local before, and they've always gone really close. So Westball's, his run, as much as, you know, he's done really well and he's shown that he can compete with the Big Six, also has some, you know, very questionable matchups that are really close. He always has close sets with Hugs. with people like MacD, and so hopefully he brings it together. And the big question I have for him is he's never had a good historical Apex or Evo performance in the past 3 years. Can he break his double-digit slump and crack the top 12? Can he beat the Peaches? Can he beat the Samuses? Can he not lose to MDVA Foxes, for the love of God? And so, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I really love all the narratives that are brewing into going to Evo, and the very fact that it's so unpredictable it should make you excited as well.